Hola, my lovelies. It's me, author Alexandrian Fonte, coming to you with a new review. So, my lovelies, it's Saturday, and I know, sorry, my hair is always looking tore up. I normally don't do reviews on Saturdays. I try to save that for I guess just a day to read and do nothing. But since we missed those days last week, I'm going to go ahead and do some reviews today anyway, and then I will also be doing one tomorrow. Yesterday I said I was going to be reading the YA book, but I'm actually not. I'm going to read it tomorrow. If she is an indie author. Because remember, this is all indie only. So we only review indie authors trying to make their way in the world. We just feel like it's paying it forward for them because of the fact that it allows them to use these for platforms and all other kind of stuff. So this is why we choose to do them instead of doing mainstream that's already out there. And so tonight's author is not actually one of my housemates. I will reintroduce them next week. I believe Kenesha has one more book, and then Arlie actually has a ton. That's pretty much it for Lexi and SK, because they only both have the one book. I know Lexi is supposed to be coming out with one within the next month, I believe it is. She's actually doing a contemporary, or I don't know. Actually, I'll have to ask her because I have no clue. But yeah, so and then SK is supposed to have the second book to Chosen by Two, and then I think Forbidden Time or something like that. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, girls. I don't remember the what you guys sent me. But anyway. So tonight's review is going to be by the book tonight is called it's by T.S. Sharp, and it's called First Time Around, the Circle of Love series. Okay. And here is the cover. Ooh, so you guys can see this well. And this is the cover. And so now this is one we're going to finish out with the not the submission authors, but the authors that Jen is pretty much uploading and downloading from Amazon. So that's what we're going to finish out this week with. And then next week we'll start fresh with the actual submission authors. And then if we don't get enough for the week, then we will go back to doing the download from Amazon until we get more submission authors. So that's pretty much how it's going to go from now on. So even if we don't get any authors to submit, then we're still going to be reviewing indie authors. So if you know indie authors who would like to submit their book as well, let them know. Or if you'd like to make a suggestion, if you are a reader out there and you would like to make some suggestions on who you think we should review as well, then totally leave us a comment down there in the comment section, and then we will totally get on that. So now tonight's author, I actually, one second. Sorry about that. I forgot my notes, so I had to step off the camera right quick and get them. I could have just reached over and got them, but then crap. Yeah, that probably would have happened. So anyway, so now, as I was saying, this is tonight's book, and it's by author T.S. Sharp. Now, this is a freebie as well. It is a short read. It only consists of 60 pages, so it's probably like a 30-minute read. But I wanted to read it because when Jen sent it to me and asked me about it, basically because of the fact, because of all the like really, she got some like 1-star reviews too. So, and someone just went on a like a complete tangent about this book to the point where they wrote 2.5 paragraphs of a review, and I'm just like, wow, okay, that's kind of a lot. And they didn't even care that they gave spoilers away to the book, which is kind of rude and just crappy. So if I was the author, I would petition Amazon because of the fact that they gave spoilers and they're pretty much ruining the book for other people. If I was Miss just one sec, I'm so sorry, Miss Sharp. If I was Miss Sharp, I would actually as an author, you can write Amazon and tell them that this is crap, that it should be removed, because she, like, if it's her opinion and she didn't like the book, she gets to do that. That's okay. We don't have an issue with that as an author. But she gave away most of the book. That's crappy, because now other people aren't going to want to buy that book because of the fact that she gave away the plot and everything for the book. So, Miss Sharp, you can write Amazon and ask them to remove this review because it's detrimental to the sales of your book. Make sure you do that. And so now, this book was only 60 pages, and this is why I'm saying that it's kind of crappy that the reviewer did this, because of the fact that the book is only 60 pages. So she pretty much gave away the entire book, the 60 pages. And so basically, yeah, make sure you go on there and ask them to remove that. Okay, so now the book follows, just one second. I have to get my notes here. I'm not exactly sure what's going on with this. For some reason, there is a lag in the video. So, okay, I'm just going to go ahead and do it, and hopefully it doesn't mess up. Okay, so just one second. Let me get my notes. Okay, so this book follows Gabriel and Monica. Okay, so they meet at a college party, and Monica's best friends pretty much give her a dare, and they tell her to go over and basically say something sexy and kind of like dirty to this guy, which is Gabriel. And so basically it's some kind of dare. So she goes over to him. She says this line. He's shocked. He's like, and then he starts to laugh, and then they have this little banter back and forth between each other. And then, so she's like, okay, I need your phone number to basically prove that I did this dare. And so he's like, are you sure you don't want my number for any other reasons? And she's like, no, I just need it for the dare. And so he gives her his phone number, and then she probably like walks off and goes back and she talks to her friends. And so the one friend, Hallie, she calls the number to make sure like she didn't lie. And then when he picks up the phone, she hangs up. And so she goes off with her friends because she did there, and she pretty much doesn't think about him again after that. And so like 3 weeks pass, and then she goes to class, and then lo and behold, he's in her finance class. And so they have a conversation. He's pretty much like, I thought maybe you would at least call once, blah, blah, blah. They have the conversation. They hit it off as friends, and then they become friends. They start hanging out all the time. And then finally, after a couple of months, actually, after like 3 weeks, he basically says that he's in love with her and she needs to stop playing around, like, because he knows that she is too. And so they start dating. They have this relationship, and then she happens the day that he takes her to meet his parents, because they're going to like some beach house that he owns, because he's like a rich trust fund kid. And so they're going to this beach house. So he stops by his parents' house to get this to get the keys to the house. He meets the mom. The mom automatically doesn't like her, and it gives like racial undertones because like she walks out of the room and she goes to the bathroom or whatever, and on her way back she stops. She doesn't actually go into the kitchen. She's listening to the conversation, and the mom is pretty much like, oh, you brought a black girl here, blah 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 blah. And so he sticks up for her and he's like, I don't care what you think, blah 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 blah. And so like after that, then he meets he oh they're leaving the house, and then he introduces her to his like childhood friend Angela. And so they have a conversation, and then she's like, oh, it was nice to meet you, Monica, and then hopefully we can hang out or blah 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 blah. And so then they become best friends and they start hanging out together. And so a couple of months pass and they're into this relationship. They finally consummate their relationship that night. Like that night later at the beach house, he doesn't wrap it up. So automatically, you know, that you already know that that's going to be in this book. And then he tells her one day that he has a surprise for her. And then she's like, okay. And so she's going to show up. She like ditches her friends, or she tells her friends she'll see him later or whatever. And then she's going to show up at his house. So she shows up at his house. And then when she gets there, she hears a noise or something. She goes to the bedroom and he's in bed with the best friend, Angela. Now he's asleep, and I guess she made a noise, so the girl Angela jumps up, and then she basically is like, oh, I'm sorry, I thought we were going to wait to tell you, blah, blah, blah. She says all this stuff to basically infer that she's been sleeping with him all this time. And then so the girl Monica, the main character, she leaves. She decides that she's pretty much done. And then she goes back to her apartment. She tells her friends. She has a good cry. She breaks down. And then like 3 weeks later, I guess, because she's 3 weeks, well, actually like a couple of months later, she's on a binge or whatever. And then her friends are like, basically going to intervene now. And then she says, she goes and she pukes, and then the friend's like, oh, when's the last time you had blah, blah, blah. So they do the pregnancy test. She winds up being pregnant. She goes to the guy's house because she hasn't spoken to him since she left. She goes to that guy's house, and then the mom answers the door. The mom steps out on the porch, and then she's like, yeah, I wanted to know if he was here. And she's like, no, he left with Angela. And so she's like, is there a message, like I can give him or something like that? So she takes out a piece of paper. She writes down her message. She gives it to the mom, and she leaves because she's like, I did my job. I told him about this child, whether he wanted to know or not. And so she was like, so I did my duty. I'm done. And she leaves. And then basically she never hears from him again. And so then after that, the book flips over, and I'm assuming like this is the part of the second book. And so it's 6 years later, and she's a waitress at a diner. And then lo and behold, she goes to her section, and it's him and the girl Angela. And so the girl Angela is like, oh, wow, blah, blah, blah. I never thought you'd be a waitress, this and this and this. And so pretty much trying to embarrass her. And she's not really saying anything, because she's taking the order or whatever. And she's like humiliated. And she's like, of all people, I could see here. And then he's just like, how have you been? Blah, 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 blah. He's saying all this stuff to her. And then he leaves like $100 tip and his phone number. And so she's just like, really, really? She takes a tip, but she pretty much throws the or it's inferred. Like the author didn't say that, but it's inferred that she tosses the number, or maybe she sticks it in her pocket. I don't know. And so, and then the book ends. So now I have several issues with this book. Not about the story itself, because the story, I believe, is very, very plausible. This could have been a very good, like a very amazing secret baby book. I don't know how book 2 is, but I do have some issues with it. The first issue I have is the cliffhanger. I don't know what's up with you contemporary romance authors. This is probably the reason why I don't read contemporary romance, because of the shiza like this. I have an issue with this because, one, you're not sending your readers into the next book. Okay, if you are reading I'm just gonna make some examples here. If you're reading a paranormal romance, it says book 1. This book did not say book 1. Most of the time when you have a series, it says it here, book 1 of 2 in the Circle of Love. But it's not on the cover, as you can see. There is no book 1 here. So first off, the reader is going to be upset about that, because you're not giving them a warning that this is a series. So they're going to be upset about that automatically, because there is no book 1. Secondly, the cliffhanger in which you stopped, or the author stopped, was, I believe, in between book 2. So she took a little bit of the book 2, added it to the rest of this story, and then she stopped it. And that's cheesy. You can't do that if you want to keep your readers. This is why you have the 1 stars. Because all this does, really and truly, is piss off your readers. Because you didn't give them a warning. It says at the back of the book that this is book 1 of book 2, but you didn't put it on the cover. You didn't put it on the first page of the book. Let me make sure, because I don't want to be talking stuff that I don't know. But I don't remember seeing it. Yeah. You didn't put here, even in this portion of the book, I don't know if the readers can see it, but even in this portion of the book, it would have been okay under your name, T.S. Sharp, to put book 1. And then that way, because the next advertisement is your series, or your book series, Rocked, Rebels Band Novels. So that would have been a heads up for the reader right there. And then that wouldn't have given you that 1 star. And then there were a lot of typos in this book, to where they did throw me out of the story a little bit. And with this only being 60 pages, that's kind of bad. That's a bad thing, because you only have 60 pages. So if you're throwing your readers out of 60 pages, that's not good. That's really not good. And so, and then as well, there were a couple of sections that were a bit repetitive, because the author had already said this, but then she reworded it like a little bit further down. And so that, unless it's a book like, okay, Arlie has this book that's called Tell Me Something Good, but it's like GUID, so it would have like the Irish good, instead of good. And so basically it's a game of telephone. And so the book is a game of telephone. This story that she, or this comment that she tells this guy, the main character, the comment that she says to him, because she's basically saying that he's a dog. He sleeps with women because he know he's fine, he's hot, and he can, but he doesn't think he doesn't give two shites about the women after that and what the damage or the wreckage that he's done, because he asked her, what do you think of me? And then she was like, play it. And then he was like, no, can you explain that? And so she explains it. And so what happens is he's so hurt by this comment that he starts telling other people that she said this about him, and he doesn't understand why. And so it's like a game of telephone. The what she said about him begins to get embellished, because all these people that he's telling, they're adding one or two things onto it. And so that part is like hysterically funny. But anyway, so you don't really need repetitive language like that unless it's in an incident, excuse me, I'll get it right in a second. And an incident like that. An occasion, okay? if it's an occasion like that. So you don't really actually need the repetitive language like that. And 9 times out of 10, you'll probably get a comment from a reader that says this was very repetitive. Also, the problem is that I really like this story because I just feel like with some work, this could be a 4-star, I don't know what is up with my mouth today. My brain and my mouth aren't connecting, guys. I'm so sorry. I think this could be a really good book. It could be really good if the author just went back over it, revamped it, did some editing because there were a lot of typos in it. Did some editing, and basically she would have a good to go book. So because of the fact that I did like the story, I'm going to star this book 3 stars. I feel like the author could really get a 4-star out of it if she goes back, revamps it, and then puts in more of this, because it's a freebie, yes, and you're giving it off as a freebie this month, and it's free. And so it's 60 pages, but then you turn right around and you offer the next book for $2.99. So I would say at least go back and give it a cliffhanger that makes sense, because this one doesn't. It doesn't make sense at all. And so basically what you're going to do, you're just going to make the readers angry. And that's why you got some of those 1 stars. So I'm giving this book myself a 3 stars because I truly believe that the author could go back and really, really work this up. Because there are some issues with it, like why she didn't say nothing when she saw her man in the bed with this other woman. She just walked out like it was nothing. I'd at least threw something at him and then walked out, or I'd have been like, you blah, 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 blah. Take him. You can have him, because if he's here in the bed with you, then he wasn't with me anyway. So I can understand that. But to just turn around and walk out, that's unrealistic. No woman would do that. Even if she didn't fight her, she don't have to do all that, because you don't have to be that ignorant all the time. But she would have said something to him. She would not have let him just sleep in that bed like that. No. So, anyway, so I do have some issues with it, but I really think the story, because even though that just annoyed me, it still kept me into the book, because if that's what an author is supposed to do, they're supposed to piss you off, they're supposed to make you cry, make you laugh, which means that you have invested yourself in the book. So if you turn right around and you give them a cliffhanger like that, you just lost them, because now they were invested in your book, and then you just lost them because now they're like, oh, I feel betrayed. I feel, you literally just did that to me. And so this is why I want you to go back, Miss Sharp, and re-evaluate this book. Fix that cliffhanger, because you can have a cliffhanger, but you can't have one like that. If you need some help, if you are an indie author, because it looked like you were an indie author and you need some help, then you send me a message, girl, because I will help you with that ending, because you can't, not if you want to make money, not with that ending. And you're just going to keep getting, even though you got some good reviews, you're going to keep getting the bad ones like that. So that's pretty much it. Tomorrow I will be reading a YA of some sort. Not exactly sure what yet. I will probably be reading the one that I said. I will probably be reading the one that I said. And then as well, Miss Natasha Brown, and remember, it's called Hedgeling. So that's probably what I'll be reading tomorrow. And that's pretty much it to this review. Please make sure that you guys subscribe, like clicking that little button and leaving, or actually clicking that little button and then clicking the little bell next to it, which allows you to get a message every time we upload a new video. And that's pretty much it. Love you bunches, and I will see you tomorrow. Don't forget to subscribe. Click that button.